This country been run by a brother goats, the greediest of all time. They have all of self and none of the mentality. The chorus is bunch of pigs and goats running this desk, and the latest deception and betrayal is really cause for alarm. They're the greediest of all time. It is plain to see the true gang and give a damn about you and me. Even big supporters crying foul and shame at how these comrades dirty in the Labour Party name. Don't business about that as long as they pocket fat. Too bad you don't agree. The goat them say it's all about me. That's the chorus. Who is the nanny gate liar? Who talks spin doctor? Men, whose sole agenda is to make themselves richer and the poor out of them. They say I know that I greedy, but I beg you don't watch me stop being hateful. Instead just be grateful. All the good them say it's all about me. That's the slogan. The big salary increase is just the latest injustice to be imposed on the people by these blundering misfits. They're selfish and greedy with no love for the needy. Grabalicious and runways make the thing ain't got no taste. Disrespectful and pompous, arrogant and self-righteous. These goats too brave and bold, ain't got no heart, no soul. They fed on their own mess with not a care for the rest. They say it's all about me. That's the goat them mantra. Who want the whole hog treating poor people like dog men? Who keep flying and start living our sons here to die? Who take the pepper the pop and kill off the peace? Enough talking about lift and elevate, just words and promises but no relief. Who lacking empathy, compassion, humility, Who think that shame, lame, rename is a sustainable strategy? Here they got them men. But woe be unto these ghosts and vampires. Ecclesiastes 5 verse 10 says, whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. Firstly, not grievous evil under the sun. Well, according to the harm of its owners, lost to misfortune, so that their children have nothing to inherit. So let them carry on. God don't like ugly. Who play, who fooling, who since June 2022? Who do the big bet and switch divide the poor and the rich? Who raking in bigly while so many going hungry? Who are disgrace of the eye blood sucking parasite, a bunch of termites? Headed about them, We love to serve our country that God has blessed so well. In peace and love and happiness, we will forever dwell. We ask for God's protection and guidance on our way. The People's Action Movement will strive from day to day. The People's Action Movement is here and here to stay.
Greetings, everyone. Where are you looking at us from? This is Perspectives. This is the 5th edition of Perspectives, brought to you by the People's Action Movement. We hope that you would stay the full hour with us and you would engage us as we go along. This evening, we don't know if we can top that show we had last week, but we'll try. I promise we'll try. Before I tell you what we're going to, well, you do know what we're going to talk about this week because it was just displayed on the screen. But before we get into the meat of that discussion, allow me to just recap a little bit on some of the activities that we had last week. We had a very packed week last weekend. On Friday, we had the opening of our secretariat, so you can now come and pay membership dues. You can give your donation to keep Perspectives going, or to the press conference, or whatever means you want to contribute to, whatever area you want to contribute to, that is. So you can come into the secretariat. For now, we are only open on Saturdays. So we want to invite you to drop by and visit us. And we also want to let you know that the contact information that you see displayed now, they are up and running. You can email us, you can call or WhatsApp us any one of those two numbers. Preferably, our Assistant Secretary General would be available on Saturdays. So if it is your intention to come in to the office on Saturday, please contact her ahead of time, and you will meet her here and share, and whatever it is you have to offer, she will take the notes and pass it on to the relevant executive members. And so we want to say thank you so much for everybody who turned out on Friday last for the opening of our secretariat. We certainly do appreciate your kind support, your encouragement, your love, your prayers. We are truly, truly grateful for all that you do for our beloved party. And then on Sunday, we applied to the police to do a prayer vigil. We were going to make some stops along a specified route that we provided to them, but we were denied. But we found a way to work around it, and so we gathered in the square on Sunday evening, a number of our executive members, some of them, not all, and we individually said a prayer for our country. Because you see, we are Christians, we are a Christian society, and in this party we understand that prayer works and prayer changes things. And so we interceded on Sunday to God for our nation, asking him to, restore the peace that we are accustomed to, and help us to live in more brotherly love, with more brotherly love, and to be kind to one another. Because if we're kind, there is no room for injustice, and there's no room for crime. So we are encouraging all of us to live peaceably. We're encouraging all of us to live as one. We are too small a federation to be so saddled by crime and the high rise of criminal incidents. So we did our thing on Sunday, and now we're here again today talking about music festival. So yes, how many of you have your tickets for music festival? Anybody? Put it in the chat. Let's see if you have your tickets for music festival yet. Have you bought your outfits yet? Anybody's going? Are you going to all of the nights? None of the nights? One of the nights? Are you feeling it? Are you excited about the music festival this year? Is anybody planning to go? I mean, tell us in the chat, because we're not so sure if on this side we're really feeling it. We're not so sure. There's a lot left to be desired in terms of the build-up, but we're going to talk it through tonight. And when we talk with authority, because we have invited our deputy political leader, Jonell Powell, who was also the chairman of the Artist Selection and Production Committee of the St.Kitts Music Festival. And of course, he was in the engine room. He knew what it takes to execute a fantastic production. And in fact, I think under his watch 2 years ago, or immediately after COVID, was one of the better years, the best years of music festival. So we've invited him tonight to tell us about what is wrong, what are we missing? Why is it that energy has suddenly dissipated from music festival? So please help me welcome Jonell Powell.
Thank you, Laverne. Pleasure to be here. Good evening to everybody out there who's viewing us. We love to come to the people and talk to the people, and not just talk about how this government is getting everything wrong, but also to give suggestions, make suggestions, because at the end of the day, we are here to make St. Kitts and Nevis a better place. Tonight we're discussing the music festival. We're not trying to kill the festival. We want to see it thrive. We want to see it get back to the heights that it was at a few years ago. And so we're here to discuss it and make suggestions. And at the end of the day, show you that within PAM, we have what it takes to make not just music festivals successful, but to make this country of St. Kitts and Nevis successful as well.
That's the point. That's the clincher right there. So let's start off, Jonell. When you were in the role as chairman of the artist selection and production, what exactly did that entail?
I was ultimately as the chair responsible along with the team for selecting the artists for the music festival. We were responsible for vetting contracts and negotiating contracts, as well as the running of the actual stage shows on a night-to-night basis, ensuring that you had from sound to lighting to staging, everything, even stage management during the concerts, to have that going. And I want to take 2 minutes just to give a quick tribute to the man who brought me into the music festival, and that is the late Adrian Lamb, who we just said goodbye to yesterday at his funeral. Adrian passed recently. Adrian was one of the founders of the St. Kitts Music Festival and stuck with the festival right through. This is probably the first festival that he is not a part of, unfortunately. Adrian was a musician as long as he knew himself, from Toucan Band to the Toucan sound system. He was a former chairperson of the St. Kitts Music Festival, and up to when I came in 2015, he brought me in. He was the then chair of the artist selection and production team, and
So he basically gave you his notes.
He gave me his notes. I was his pupil for a year, and then after that first year, he then handed it over to me, and throughout the other years that I was there up until 2020, I had the benefit of Adrian's counsel, even in terms of selecting artists, how they mesh together, what artists on what night, how is it going to flow. We had that benefit. As a matter of fact, Adrian was, to date, the only local person who's ever provided the sound engineering, and by that I mean the entire sound engineering for the music festival. Normally it is outsourced, and 1 year Adrian had the opportunity to do that, and so I just want to, give it that tribute to Adrian, and to say thank you, wherever you are, for giving me that opportunity, and I think he has certainly left an indelible mark, not just on the St. Kitts Music Festival, but on the musical landscape in St. Kitts and Nevis and the region.
Yeah, I had a brother who actually sang in Toucan.
There you go.
So for sure, he was a good person. He really was a good person. So you've given us a nice little background of what is involved. Now let's fast forward to today. What has gone wrong? Against the backdrop too that, and it's funny, because I remember a few years ago, immediately after Carnival, like the second week in January, we knew at least 3/4 of the artists who were coming. And the funny thing about that is that people were critical. People were saying, oh, you could tell they don't want Carnival, because no sooner as the dust settle on Carnival, they're talking about music festival. But what a difference 2 years have made.
Well, when I first went into the role, one of the first things I did, Laverne, was to research. I did research. I spoke to tourism, the tourism authority personnel. I spoke to some of the consultants to the tourism ministry. I actually went to New York and met with representatives of the big music agencies to see what artists were still available, how much they were looking for, to see what demographics were coming to St. Kitts for the music festival, who we want, how, what artists we should get to attract those those patrons coming in for research was done. And so from that, it really laid the foundation for us to do the work. And by doing the work, my goal was always, especially to the end, was to have all, if not most of the artists contracted by the end of November. Because one of the things that we got from the consultants in tourism was that people need, especially patrons who are traveling from abroad to come to St. Kitts, need at least a 6-month lead time to plan. 6 months. To plan who has to apply for vacation, booking flights, to see the lineup and decide, well, I want to go to St. Kitts for this. And so that was the logic behind coming out in November. It was in December, sorry. It was not by any means a way of trying to kill Carnival. And I think it only enhanced the Carnival. It only enhanced it. And having come for Carnival, you know, visitors, and they see the lineup, well, are coming back in 6 months. And so it worked for us. And there's the fact that obviously if you negotiate and book earlier, the rates are less. If you're going to wait till the last minute, as we are seeing happen last year and even worse this year, you're going to pay an arm and a leg for an artist that you would have gotten for much less 6 months ago.
In terms of contracting the artist.
In terms of the contracting so and the performance fees.
So the timeline also impacts what you pay these
and who's available.
Okay.
And who's available. Artists there's so much competition, especially with music festivals, even in the Caribbean now. If you wait until 2 months before, you have a smaller pool to choose from because artists are already booked out. There's some artists who are booked a year in advance.
Well, we're going to talk about that as we go along. But I want to dial back a little bit to something that you said, because I believe that there is value in continuity. So, and you mentioned that, you know, you were basically schooled by Adrian until, you know, he let go your hands and you could do it on your own. So your last music festival was 2022?
No, my last music festival was in 2019 when we had that famous year when we had Buju Banton and we had 15,000 people.
Was it after COVID? Was it 2019?
No, it was before. It was before, and we had 15,000 people up at the Kim Collins Stadium that night. We were in full force for 2020. We had already released the entire lineup, and then COVID came in, and we were unable to host the festival that year. I then, well, for 2 years, I think, and then by 2022, I was elected into government, and so I passed the reins on. But I think you were making the point that there was continuity. And so Adrian brought me in, worked with me for a year, and then said, all right, you're good to go. Before I left, I had people like Fonz, Rodney from K and Juice, Amali Amani. There was a group who by then were working with me. So when I left the music festival, Fonz had already been in there and was a perfect person to take over as in my stead in that role. And so there was continuity.
So I want to ask the $1 million question. What has happened?
Well, I don't know, you know, but I would love to know, for example, well, who is choosing the artist? Who are the persons or the person negotiating and choosing, and what is, you know, before, when we launched lineups or the music festival, I was in my capacity to explain, to speak about, you know, how we came up with artists. Certainly after me, Fonz was doing it. Before me, Adrian was doing it. Now, you don't have that. I mean, as we saw this week, there wasn't even a build-up to the launching of the final lineup. You woke up one morning, oh wait, tourism has a press conference today. Oh, and by the way, the final lineup for the music festival is. There was no build-up, no hype, no energy going into it. And so we don't know what is happening. All you know is one day you wake up and, well, here's a lineup.
But what is that doing to the product, though? because I sense that people are, I sense that interest is waning. I sense that there is a kind of air of casualness, and people are kind of nondescript. They really couldn't be bothered because, like you said, the energy is missing. The hype is missing.
They're not serious. This government and the current Music Festival Committee are clearly not serious about the music festival. The length of time it has taken them to come out and to give us the lineup, the lack of energy, the lack of drive to really build us up in anticipation, it's just not there. Even when you look at the flyers, it's like it was a last minute thing and they just put some names, not even a little picture to say, well, I don't know the name, but wait, I know that face.
Yeah.
You know, see what I mean? Not even that. You know, the social media, you go on the social media, it's just blasé, there's nothing there. And so if the Music Festival Committee is behaving that way, well, how do we as patrons get excited? You know, where's the local marketing? By now we should have had even the annual list of fringe events out, because the fringe events start in May, not just in June. You know, we don't even have that. And so so far they've just gotten everything wrong.
There was a time when there was a real hype around you know, the weeks, maybe even months before music festival. I think there used to be something around the island, some bar hopping kind of thing. There used to be something in Nevis even.
That's right.
And everywhere you go, people were just excited and in high anticipation, looking forward. For me, if something works, why change it? You can better it, but there's no need to change it. And I get the sense sometimes that people prefer, or maybe this government prefer not to follow a script because they don't want to say that they're following something that was left and was working in terms of a model. But yet, at the end of the day, there's that is worse than if they had followed something that was there. And I don't understand the philosophy of that.
Laverne, you've hit the nail on the head. It is as though this government is coming and anything that was being done by the past administration, well, we can move those people. We can change that. Whether it is you're going to the music festival and you say, no, we can clear out a bunch of people from the music festival and put our own people in there without having that transition, without having that, you know,
handover.
Whether it's a New Basia High School, and you know what, we're not doing it because they were going to do it, we can do it somewhere else. And we see this with the social programs that were in place. They've done it there as well. And then as a result, the ordinary people are the ones who are at a disadvantage now because of this high-handed man of just coming in. Let's get rid of them and put our own people, whether they are capable, whether they are in a position to actually carry out these jobs. Square pegs in round holes, and that's what they do.
It is sad, and you know, I know there might be somebody saying, well, why are they talking? Because, you know, this government started, well, in another iteration some years ago, started the festival. But, you know, we are nationals of St. Kitts. We live here, we work here, we play here. And of course we can criticize something in a way that could lend to its better development. Now, I remember a few years ago, Antigua started off a music festival, and I think there was quite a number of other islands who had competing products, and then they went away. So we have survived. The St. Kitts Music Festival has survived for a number of years, and it must be said that something made it survive those years. And I understand now why people feel away, seeing the decline in recent times, because when the other islands started and stopped, we continued, and in fact we got better through the years.
Absolutely.
And now, and I know I know people who believe in the marketing theory of cycles would probably think that, well, maybe we are hitting a cycle now, and we kind of have to rebuild from here. But it seems to me, based on what you just outlined, that there's a number of considerations and there's a number of things that brought us to this place, including the fact that people who are not sufficiently experienced, the festival was placed in their hands. And it makes me repeat, like I said on the edition last week, that the sad thing is that our country operates at 50% capacity every 5-year cycle. Because we believe that if somebody doesn't wave the flag that we wave, if somebody doesn't wear the color that we wear, they really can't contribute to national development. Correct. And so we exclude them. Correct. We exclude them. Even if we exclude them to the detriment of reducing the quality of the product, people don't care. And for me, that is so sad.
You're right. And even when it comes to the music festival, I have publicly offered my support, my experience, my knowledge. I never collected a cent for the music festival. I'm not looking for money. I want to see the music festival succeed. God knows I worked hard enough during my period, along with the rest of the team, to bring it to where it was. It is something that I have supported from the beginning, and so I don't want to see it die. We've seen festivals in the Caribbean come and go. BVI had started and stopped. They've now come back this year. And they're
coming back the same period with ours, the 20th and 29th of June.
Antigua tried something, Anguilla tried something. There were years when St. Lucia stepped out, Tobago, Curacao. I remember there was one year and everybody had jumped out, but the St. Kitts Music Festival was going strong. And so they came back in, and we were able to adapt. And so even when I talk about doing research, the consultants were saying, well, the average tourist coming here was a middle-aged white couple from the tri-state area. Well, those people not coming for the music festival. And so we looked at the artists that we could have, that we could get, and said, all right, well, who is traveling for music festivals? And we realized the data was saying young professionals from the East Coast who did want to see, and we were able to adapt the lineup and the artists that we offer to encourage those persons to come to St. Kitts, while at the same time including some retro acts for more mature crowd.
Yeah.
I have to be careful how I say it, and to bring in artists who perform music that we don't typically listen to here, but who would attract the thousands of raw students we have here, and expats and visitors at the Four Seasons and Nevis and that. That was the thinking behind it. It was not just, all right, who the locals want to hear, who the young people want to hear, who's hot.
So there was a science behind it.
Absolutely. When you look at the lineup that has been presented today, it does not jump out at anybody. You have many artists. If you look at the Friday night, all the artists basically are catering to the same demographics. As a matter of fact, it's all Jamaicans. So it's Jamaican Music Festival night.
Yeah. Somebody had a comment, which was so interesting. The comments on the thread, as they revealed the artists, was so interesting. Somebody said that even when they Googled some of these people, they couldn't find any.
Exactly, I saw that comment. And this is it. And again, with all the competition that we have, and because they're coming so late, one of the things we used to do to make the St. Kitts Music Festival unique, we used to use what they call radius clauses. So when we contracted an artist, that artist could not perform anywhere in the region for 3 months before and 2 months after our music festival. Only local artists were exempted from that. When you look at the lineup, apart from the fact that you had 450, Pumper, Nadia Batson here in St. Kitts for Carnival just 6 months ago, that was something we didn't do. Well, they were here 6 months ago, let's bring somebody new.
Yeah.
You have Freddie Jackson and one other artist performing this month in the BVI, their Cinco de Mayo Fest or something like that. And then the weekend after the St. Kitts Music Festival, you have Massacre and another artist performing in the BVI.
So there's no traction for people in the BVI to come to St.
As
Kitts
source
because
markets,
you're going to, right.
why would they come here?
Yeah, when they're going to see them at home.
They launched the festivals a long time ago.
Yeah.
People done see the lineup and they don't make up their minds. Well, we ain't hearing from St. Kitts. BVI looking kind of good this year, boy. We think we can go there this year. And this is the reality. And the artists that they have, you know, is a lot of repeat artists. Nobody really jumps out. I know everybody is talking about Mary J. Blige. She's an artist that we looked at many times, certainly during my tenure. But there's a reason why we never attempted to contract her. Her performance fees are such that it did not make economic sense. If you're going to pay $1 million for an artist, that is a substantial part of your budget.
But then you also doing the promotion so late. It's
of course.
It's 6 weeks before music
and
festival.
So the later you wait to book them, the more expensive it is. And then apart from that, a lot of those bigger artists, you only hear about the performance fee, but when they come with a whole band and a whole entourage, 20, 25 people, you're talking about airfare for 25 people, including first class tickets for the artists and management. You're talking about accommodation for 25 people. You're talking about per diems, money every day for meals and that for 25 people. You're talking transportation for 25 people who not just coming from Miami, you know, they're coming from all over. So you're talking about another couple $100,000 on top of, say, $1 million performance fee.
So you say all that. So I'm going to ask you the question directly. Is music festival a profitable venture?
I dare say it is not. Certainly not right now.
But there's a but somewhere.
Up to pre-COVID it was. It had not been a profitable venture at all. And because of the research put in on the artist side, but the work done by the successive chairmans, you had people like Farron Lawrence, Damian Hobson, businessmen who are accustomed to negotiating deals and had, you know, used their business prowess to entice new service providers, local service providers. You have people locally who provide these services at a cheaper cost, just as good. Sponsorship, and just running it like a business and not a free-for-all, and not this thing where you give away hundreds, if not thousands, of tickets every music festival to your party supporters because, you know, because you look, this person have 10 votes in the house, you know, so let me give them a little thing. It was run like a business. It is not being run like a business now, and there's no way it could be profitable now. And at the end of the day, this is government's money, this is the people's money. And this committee and this government and this minister of tourism are spending government money wantonly. Things hard out there. They've pulled a lot of the social safety nets that were in place for poor people in this country. And now, on top of that, monies that could very well have been saved, and to empower some of these young people, whether to assist them in vending, getting a bar, in participating in the build-up events, the fringe events. That money is going outside to foreign interests, and our people are at a disadvantage. Again, opportunities pulled from young people.
Right. So, but you're not saying that all is totally lost, though, because I believe there's probably still people who have maybe fetes and booths and who would have the bars on the ground and all of that. But are you saying that it would be difficult for them to mobilize capital to set up and all of that? That's what you're saying?
I'm saying in this economy, under this government, things are already hard. There's not one business out there that can come and say, boy, doing well, you know. everybody, regardless of who you support politically, whether it's a big business or small business, things are hard and everybody complaining. When we look at Carnival and you talk to businesses, bars, sales were down dramatically. If you went to the fetes, the kind of numbers that those big fetes were accustomed to getting, they weren't getting. And things are even worse now. People don't have money to spend like
Who
that.
control the fetes in St. Kitts now?
Well, they're controlled by private interests, but if people don't have money to spend, they can't go. They can't go. And so I say all of that to say, even with the fringe events, whereas before, people, they're saving up their money and the young ladies have to buy their outfits, a different outfit for every event and every night. They are not in a position to do that. The promoters are not in a position to have the number and types of events that they used to have.
So we're in a dilemma.
Well, the rate we're going, we're in a dilemma, but I don't think all is lost. There is still time for persons to get it together.
Before June?
Well, something is better than nothing. As I started, I don't want to see the music festival fail.
I don't think any one of us.
And so,
let's just go on record by saying that.
We don't want to see it. We're saying these are things that can be fixed, and these are ways. If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Exactly.
But they fixed it, and now it is broken. And so I think there's time for them to get their acts together, look at what has worked in the past, and do that. Drum up some energy. There's still seats available. I will show you, and I will show the camera. Normally, at this time of the year, you can get flights for St. Kitts Music Festival. Or if you can, they're really expensive.
And I've heard they've dropped the fees
And so
twice now.
I have gone on to the, well, I'll take your advice. I won't call the airlines.
No free promotion.
I won't call the airlines
We're
name,
looking for sponsors.
but I want to go online and show what the flights are from Miami to St. Kitts at the music festival, and I'm going to put in June 20th, which is a Thursday, to June 24th, which encompasses the whole period of the music festival itself. And when you go online and it's loading, because I don't want people to feel like I am making up things. When you go online, I don't know if you could see, the fare is $518 on the Thursday.
Yeah.
The Wednesday is $433, and the Friday is $408. We wish we could get fares like that normally.
Yeah.
Miami to St. Kitts.
And they're literally going a begging.
This is for the music festival.
Yeah.
And we're gonna click on the seats. Oh Lord, they're showing the logo. But look at the number of seats that are
still
available on the flight.
Yeah. That is a whole message in itself. That is saying that interest is low, and interest is low because the information was released very late.
Absolutely.
Like you say, your research in the past suggested that people needed at least 6 months lead time. We don't even have 6 weeks lead time now.
Exactly.
But another interesting observation I've made as well is that they've extended the time for music festival to 10 days instead of 3. I think the date I saw is the 22nd to the 30th. Or the 20th to the 30th. I don't know what is the rationale for expanding the days, because if things are already flat and people are not warming up to what is happening, why would you have a longer period than before?
I think it's just a gimmick. It's just a last-minute gimmick to try and drum up support and interest in the music festival. But if you extend the time but you don't promote it, then what happens? I mean, they tried it last year when they came with the whole concept of marijuana section and being able to smoke marijuana. And the government rushed into Parliament to get this legislation in place in time for the music festival. Well, let me say this. There are no regulations in place to support that legislation, and so that legislation is inactive. And so what the festival actually did was put people in a position to incriminate themselves by smoking marijuana publicly. Because of the lack of regulations, they can't police it. Not one person has gotten a ticket or been subjected to that legislation. And so, unless they're going to rush into Parliament to do it again and get the regulations in place, they are putting people in a position to incriminate themselves. Possession of marijuana, use of marijuana in a public place, which are illegal. And so it is these last minute, not thought through properly gimmicks that they come with to try and fool people. And they're just putting people in a worse position.
Mm-hmm. So let's swing back the conversation to the marketing now. Because the fact that you showed all of those empty seats on that particular airline, I guess which listeners probably by now all can guess which airline that was. It means that people are not feeling the energy. Maybe people are not even hearing anything. What happens with our regional and international marketing arm? Is there a regional and international marketing arm? The people who have responsibility for our tourism marketing in North America, are they also charged with marketing music festival?
They are, and I think that goes through the SKTA, and so you would see ads traditionally you see ads for the music festival on planes, regional and international planes. They have these ads passing on the screens, and you'd see St. Kitts Music Festival come up. You'd see articles on it in magazines.
But are these things
they
not
would do
happening
road
anymore?
shows. They would do road shows and stuff like that. I have not heard of any of that. Maybe, but again, it's as though everything is on autopilot, and so you don't get any information, and we're left to wonder. But based on what we're seeing, the interest is just not there. And perhaps persons in authority interest lie elsewhere, and so they're not taking on the St. Kitts Music Festival.
Where do you think the interest?
And
the interest is gone.
I know I might ruffle some feathers, but the truth is the truth. It is nothing personal against anybody. But the fact is, justice, there's a saying in law, justice must not just be done, it must be seen to be done. And I can say that, for example, around the music festival, there are two other big events. You have Breaking Dawn, which comes before, and then you have White Sands on the Sunday Music Festival. There are at least 3 persons and I'm going based on the music festival committee that was released by the Ministry of Tourism this week at the press conference. There are at least 3 persons on that committee, the minister herself included, who have personal interest in Breaking Dawn. There's also persons with interest in White Sands. And so you have the same people who are tasked with booking artists for these 3 events at the same time. Now, I am not saying that anybody is doing anything wrong, but the perception is not a good one.
Yeah.
And the way in which the music festival is flopping right now, questions are being asked. People are meeting me on the road and saying, but wait, what's going on here? And so these are the things that we need to look at and make decisions on. Because at the end of the day, the music festival is a government event. It is our event. It is meant to bring people into St. Kitts. It's not meant to be a show for locals to just go and lime. It is meant to put heads in the beds, as they say, and bring people into St. Kitts and Nevis. And it is not doing that right now.
Whoa. I maybe it's late to make any recommendation now, but I would certainly like you to wrap your mind around some basic recommendations that you may be able to make with them when you wrap up and see if anything would work. But let's talk about the
Not put the right
even if
people in
it's lack of
place.
experience. You think pride would get in the way of them asking you or somebody who has had experience over the last number of years to come and help them? You think pride would get in their way?
No, this will get in the way. This color. And we never operated like that. If you looked at certainly in the time I was involved, it was people from across the political divide that was involved.
As it ought to be.
Look, we're too small to isolate people.
Absolutely.
When it comes
We
to
have to
these
stop.
important events.
We have to stop.
We're too small to isolate people because he's a PAM, he's a.
But
We need to do
how,
away
how,
with
how
that.
could we affect? It's not anything to do with national security. I mean, our own national security advisor has said some spurious things that you wonder, why you would pay somebody to say those things. Much less. So you have a festival, you have exclusive domain over it with your people. It is clearly failing, and you're going to let it fail and die.
Well, all I could say is we have plenty of persons with proper marketing experience, marketing companies. You yourself are into marketing, so you could back me up on this. And my recommendation would be use tried and tested persons or businesses to assist in properly promoting the music festival, both locally and abroad. Seats are available. There may be people who we can still entice at this 11th hour to come and check us out. Other than that, we're no longer in a position where we can just say, well, it is St. Kitts Music Festival, people can come, man. We don't have that privilege. I spoke about a lot of the competition that we have now, BVI. We just had St. Martin Carnival. St. Lucia comes out. St. Lucia's budget alone is so much bigger than ours. They're able to bring in those multi-million-dollar artists that we can't afford.
But the funny
so we
thing,
have that to compete with.
St. Lucia's product also took a little nosedive a few years
Absolutely.
ago, but it's on the rise again.
Right.
And so that is instructive. So that what ought to be done now is to maybe sit down and kind of deep dive into where we're going wrong. How can we fix it? Can we fix it to save it and make it better? Because I would really hate to see that our product fades out eventually.
You know what? You know what's amazing? If it wasn't last year, it was the year before. A big contingent from the Ministry of Tourism traveled to Dominica for the Creole Festival to see what they're doing down there, to see what takeaways there. A few years ago, the Creole Music Festival invited the chairman and myself to come down to see what they were doing and to give them recommendations. That is where we have come from and where we are today. And so,
The tables have turned.
the tables have turned, unfortunately.
I was on the music festival Facebook page, obviously in preparation for the show, and I saw an advertisement headed expression of interest. It was dated the 5th of March. I guess they were looking for people to do catering and security and all of the other, contingent business that are utilized for a festival like this. But the deadline for submission was 5 days. I don't know. Well, there has not been an extension. I didn't see an extension on the page, so I'm assuming that people rushed to get this thing done. And again, if to follow through on your point, business is not booming in St. Kitts. We all know that. We are living here, so there is nothing to suggest that somebody who did some of these things last year could find the funds this year to mobilize to start up these things. And yet, again, like we're saying, look at the time that you're giving people. 5 days, because you start in March. And so everything is just falling behind.
To have a bar or to cater for an event like the music festival, it takes a lot of capital, it takes a lot of money to go into it. I think just to get a bar alone is $10,000.
You have to pay to the music festival committee?
You have to pay to it.
Without any guarantee you'll make anything?
Before you buy the first drink to sell.
Oh, wow.
Without a guarantee. And when you wait this long to bring the festival to people who in this economy is going to commit themselves to that kind of
upfront payment.
payments when they don't even know what the lineup looks like. They can't judge get a sense of the excitement and the people who are going to come based on the lineup because there's no lineup to feed off of. And so everything comes down to the last minute. I can remember one year, because we came out so early, there's a group of young men from the McKnight Irish Town area who came early and said, boy, look, this lineup looking good. We know people coming this year, we want a bar. We can put together. And those fellas went around working and doing odd jobs, selling drinks on the side of the road, and until they came up with the $10,000. I remember they brought it to me in a paper bag in cash and said, no, take that down by the Ministry of Tourism and ask for Lister Williams. But just by having the information and that excitement early enough, they were able, young people, and they were able to save, and we ensured that they got the opportunity to have a bar, and they did quite well. They made a profit, and you know what they did with the profit? They went back into the community and they bought groceries for elderly people in the community. They did things to help their community. And these are the types of opportunities that can flow from the music festival, not just for established business people, but for any group of young people who want to do something positive. When you think about the kind of crime and the nonsense that we're facing, these are opportunities that we can provide to young people to do something extraordinary. And again, they didn't just take the money and go and buy drinks and clothes. They went back into the communities and assisted persons who needed that help.
That was highly commendable.
Unfortunately, when they applied the next year, they weren't able to get the bar.
Really? No, that was...
But by then the government changed.
I won't ask it. But you see, that's the thing. So again, we're saying that you are keeping out people based on what?
So I am the people, it's my time now, and I got my people who want a bar, and so them fellas can't get it. And how do you think it makes them feel? Where they just came off of a high of doing something and themselves, working hard to achieve something, to do something to enhance their own communities. And then they get kicked aside because somebody friend wants a bar to make some money.
So here's another $1 million question, Jonell. Where do we go from here? Music festival is maybe a 5 weeks, no, I guess less than 2 months away for sure. Less than 2 months away. We are saying that we are not feeling the excitement. We are not, the energy is not there. I don't know. We are, all the activities are underwhelming. The build-up, there's no build-up. What do we do? And surely I will like to give you the opportunity to issue a call to action so that people don't think that we're saying that there's no music festival or they should not support music festival. We are basically saying that the powers that be have dropped the ball significantly this year to the extent that it almost seems as if the product is waning. So if you now have the opportunity to tell people to, notwithstanding all of those things, to support the festival, what really would be your best pitch at this moment?
Well, you gave me a timeline, otherwise my initial answer would have been change and vote for PAM. A PAM government will give you a proper music festival. But, the music festival is for the benefit of us as a country and as a people ultimately. And so I want to encourage persons who can afford it to go out and support the music festival. It's not about supporting our government, it's about supporting us as a people. It is still a excuse me, it is still a fantastic platform to showcase local talent. And so for those who are seeing it, we can assist our local artists by getting that exposure. It is a significant investment that's been made, particularly and mostly by the government. And so we already know how money is being spent. So if money is being wasted, we're the ones who are gonna suffer at the end of the day. You know, I want to suggest that the festival really reaches out to individuals and try and encourage them to somehow, whether it is financially or otherwise, or dropping costs, or create opportunities for people to get involved, for people to be able to make a little money off of that. The reality is we're going to have returning nationals. There's some returning nationals who, like my good friend Deverson, who just says, look, I don't care who on the festival are coming home for it. And so you will have some people coming in. And let us take advantage of these persons who are coming in, and by having things for them to do, things for them to buy, you know, for them to have that experience. We will invariably have visitors here anyway. Let us see how we can incorporate them, encourage them to come and see it. Because if you have visitors here and they're not seeing anything about music festival, they won't know to go to it. They won't think, well, wow, I was planning to leave on Friday, you know, but maybe I should extend my flight until Sunday so I could take in the music festival. So we really do need to now ramp up the marketing and the exposure of the festival, locally as well as internationally, and just encourage people to come out and support it. You know, at the very least, it should be a decent line, you know. But we got to get it right. We got to get it right.
We really
and I
have
hope
to.
that they're learning from these experiences so that next year they can get it right.
Did I hear that there was a handbook that was put together for music festival, or that was something else? Did I hear that?
I'm not aware of that. I don't remember that, but no, you say I know there was something that was created, a document that was created some time back, which basically outlined everybody's roles and responsibilities and what you had, you know, what you were supposed to do. I'm not sure if it really a handbook, but there was something.
And surely there used to be some degree of economic analysis. I think there was a survey. I think
Yes.
a survey of people who an exit survey of people
Correct.
leaving. Do you know if that is still being done? Because
I
there
don't
must
know.
be something that the government is prepared to look at to tell themselves if they're meeting the mark or if they're falling below.
Well, one of the things too is, as far as I remember, the music festival has a statutory obligation to lay its accounts before Parliament. I don't know the last time that has been done, but there's that obligation for us to have a true perspective as to where we at with the music festival. Are we making money? Are we losing money? Does it make sense to continue with it? Certainly in 2015 when the government changed, I know that was one of the questions that the then Ministry and Minister of Tourism, Lindsay Grant, had to look at. At the rate it was going and the money it was losing and it was waning, did it make sense to continue the music festival? And the answer was yes, but we have to change the way in which we do it. So, you know, those changes obviously saw the music festival rise to the top music festival, certainly in the Caribbean, and we were being showcased as one of the top music festivals in the world. I still smile when I would get a phone call and it's a reporter from Rolling Stone and a reporter from Billboard, and what they call Little Me for. But it was about what have you all been doing to get the St. Kitts Music Festival to this level? And you know, again, I offer my support in any way I can to help the St. Kitts Music Festival, to ensure that we start getting it right, because You know what would have been a fantastic opportunity for the St. Kitts Music Festival, Laverne?
What?
We had the opportunity to host T20 World Cup here in St. Kitts and Nevis. One of the reasons I'd fought so hard to host the Under-19 World Cup was because it then put us on a level where we were a shoo-in to host the Senior World Cup, which is this year. We would have had millions of people focus on St. Kitts and Nevis, but the matches obviously would have been at Warner Park. That would have been the ultimate marketing opportunity for the St. Kitts Music Festival and St. Kitts tourism as a whole. All the Minister of Sports had to do was sign a form. Didn't have to pay any money. All he had to do was sign a form and say, yes, we accept to be a host for the T20 cricket. After 3 attempts to have the minister sign, it still was not done, and the powers that be moved on, and we lost out on that opportunity. That was another opportunity to bring tens of millions of dollars. We saw it with the Under-19 World Cup. We saw it when we hosted the CPL in its entirety here. That was an opportunity to pump tens of millions of dollars into the economy to assist persons to be in a position to really take advantage of the opportunities that come with the St. Kitts Music Festival, and to showcase the lineup, the artists, the festival to millions of people across the world.
What is it about
And
lost
again,
opportunity?
again they dropped the ball.
Well, as I've said early on, unless it is that what is happening now is a natural fallout for product life cycle, the music festival is in its 26th year. Well, because we started in 1996, but we missed 2 during the COVID years. So I don't know, maybe they need to hire some fancy marketer and they can look at the product and put it under the microscope and come back with some recommendations. But surely none of us want to see it die, because I think over time it has brought a lot of people together. It has put our country on the map. It has made a lot of people proud. It has probably allowed a lot of young people to understand the intricacies of production and lighting and all of that.
Absolutely.
And maybe allow them to get income from those things on the side.
We got to the point where a lot of the service providers that were being outsourced from foreigners was being done locally by young people.
There you go. So it did add some value to in more ways than one to people as well as to the economy. So surely it is our prayer. We are actually hoping that it doesn't die an unnatural death.
We need an all-hands-on-deck approach. We need to stop alienating people. We need an all-hands-on-deck approach so that we can all ensure that whether it's music festival or carnival or whatever it is, as a national interest, we are all in a position to see it succeed.
Great final word. And just for me to add another 2 cents before we wrap up, that we're reminding the troops, we're reminding all of our people all across the 8 constituencies, and perhaps even in Nevis, to come to our May-Day activities.
Absolutely.
We start with breakfast at 7 a.m. and we go down with dinner. There's entertainment. It's a family fun day. So bring the children along. We'll have a bouncing castle, and we would network and socialize as only PAM can do.
And if I may, Laverne, PAM has the sweetest food on May-Day, on
There you
Labor
go,
Day.
there you go.
The Labour supporters will
Come
tell
and-
you
come and buy it.
that they come over from the pasture in the
True.
Labour shirts, and we welcome them.
Yeah.
We don't have an issue,
No,
and they come
not
just
at
to
all.
buy the food.
Exactly.
And so we want you to come out this
So this invitation
Monday.
is to our Labour
our
friends
comrades as well.
Come over and buy some sweet food from PAM's sweet people, and we all live as one happy set of conditions and visions. So we'll see you next Monday at the People's Action Movement headquarters for May-Day, and we would, as time go by, we would inform you and advise you of what plans we have in place for our convention, which is scheduled for June 9th. So we would use this platform to share that information. And if you miss it here, you can always like our Facebook page and catch some more details. Thank you so much for viewing. And we'll see you again next week for another edition of Perspectives.
This country been run by a brother goats, the greediest of all time. They have all a self and none of the mentality. The chorus is me. Bunch of pigs and goats running this desk day. And the latest deception and betrayal is really cause for alarm. They're the greediest of all time. It is plain to see the true gang and give a damn about you and me. Even big supporters crying fall and shame about how these comrades dirty in the Labour Party name. Don't business about that as long as they pocket fat. Too bad who don't agree. The goat them say it's all about me. That's the chorus. Who is the nanny gate liar? Who don't spin doctor? Men. Whose sole agenda is to make themselves richer and the poor harder. They say I know that I greedy, but I beg you don't watch me stop being hateful. Instead just be grateful. All the good them say it's all about me. That's the slogan. The big salary increase is just delayed.